And so I think one of the things that, fuels this loneliness crisis, if we will, like there is, boys and girls are lonely, and they're both lonely at very high rates. They're spending much too much time online, much less time, to a huge percentage of much less time in person with their friends compared to even 10 years ago. So there is loneliness across the board. The difference, I think, for boys is that they are offered with quite persuasive sets of sort of influencers online answers to why they're lonely, why they're struggling, and they're struggling in other ways. They also have 3/4 of the deaths of despair. Suicides are high among Gen Z men right now. Drug overdoses, alcohol-fueled deaths. Traditionally male jobs and labor markets are declining. So it can be very hard, I think, to see a future that has agency and a sense of efficacy in it for a boy right now. And when an influencer says, hey, guess who's to blame for this? Feminists or Jews. Those are sort of the number one and number two usually. And so you can kind of, this is how you reassert control in your life. And here's some tactics to do it. And so when they're spending much less time than they ever have before with other people, including with girls and friendships, right? So you're just not engaging. Your algorithm's delivering very gendered content that puts you in totally different worlds. And so I interviewed an 18-year-old girl this summer who said, she's with some perplexed kind of, tone to her voice. She said, my parents had all these friends that were like the other sex or the other gender, like boys and girls mixed friends. And she said, I don't have a single straight male friend, and neither do any of my girlfriends. And she said that's true for everyone she knows. And that, boys and girls in her school would spend time together, but only if they're dating. And so I do think that we're also seeing, like, in person, a lack of just understanding and communication and relationships with someone of the other sex, and in ways that can also make it harder to contradict what you're reading online. If what you're reading is girls are deviant and are going to try to get you to fund their life, or they're going to trick you and lie, or all the kinds of conspiracy theories that circulate about girls, and you have to have a strong hand to control them, and this is how you get these fancy cars and successful, wealthy life, which is your measure of being a man. And there's nobody to counter that, because they don't have friendships with girls who tell them, like, that's ridiculous. And I'm not devious. I'm not lying to you. Like, I'm a normal friend. So they don't have that kind of same understanding that our generation had, I think, and that in ways that are really sad.